Hello, welcome to another episode of Forgotten Cemeteries in the Pacific Northwest. Today we're in Lewis Pioneer Cemetery on a lovely day. It's April 1st in Oregon. Spring's starting to hit, as you can see. Very sunny out, nice day. This is not to be confused with Hillsboro Pioneer Cemetery. If you do like an online search of Lewis Pioneer Cemetery, it seems to really want to redirect you towards that one. The only alternative name I could find to this cemetery was Farmington Cemetery, which Farmington Road is pretty close to here. It's located on the outskirts of Hillsboro, Oregon, in farm and wine country, as you can see. It's out in the, not really the middle of nowhere, but really beautiful out here. So let's go visit the local residents and hear their story. A little bit about the history of the Lewis Pioneer Cemetery. As you can see, it was established in 1847. There's around 280 gravestones here, I believe. Graves, that is. It used to be 3 cemeteries separated, but they decided to combine them into one just to make life easier. Some of the earliest birth dates on the headstones are born before 1800, actually. I think Dolpha Howard is the earliest. I want to say 1790. And actually found Dolpha Howard. I believe, again, this is a tombstone with the earliest birth date in the cemetery. He was born in 1790 in Vermont. Dolpha was actually the son of Solomon Howard, who served in the Revolutionary War. Between the years of 1775 and 1783, he fought in the battles of Monmouth and the famous Brandywine. Dolpha's wife, Chloe Rhodes Howard, is buried in Iowa, actually. He used to live in Iowa, but he moved to Oregon after her death. One of the families I was hoping to cover was the Chodes. 3 of them in particular are buried here somewhere, but I couldn't find their headstone anywhere. There's a lot of war-down tombstones here. Some of them are just kind of non-existent or broken. So I figured I'd just walk and talk about them. First gentleman I'd like to talk about is Dr. Samson Michal Chode. He was born in Finland in 1820. Married to a woman named Thea. I couldn't find any information on her. I don't know if she's buried here or not. Since Dr. Samson was the head of the Chode family, he decided to move him and his family to America in 1843. In 1851, they took the Oregon Trail, eventually arriving at their destination here. Dr. Samson actually died at the fine wine age of 108 years old, which kind of sucks because I was really looking forward to finding his headstone here. His son, Michal Jacob, is buried here as well. He's one of 2 of Dr. Samson's sons, I believe. He was born in Finland as well in 1842, because remember, Dr. Samson was a father who moved to America in 1843. He lived in Oregon, but interestingly enough, he joined the Union ranks during the Civil War. He died at the age of 21 at Stony Point, Bourbon County, Kentucky. Strange bit of information is he was killed in Kentucky while going AWOL, absent without official leave, for those that don't know. Legend has it he allegedly fell off a cliff, apparently. The second son, Reverend Job Hayil, if I'm saying that right, he was born in 1845 in Connecticut. Again, the family didn't come to Oregon until 1851. The second son of Samson and Thea. Cool story behind him. He served as a missionary in Africa from 1882 to 1903. Unfortunately, he suffered an asthma attack and died in Niger in 1903 at the age of 57. He is also buried here somewhere, as his son brought him back to Oregon for a proper burial. To give you an idea, we have some more overseas immigrants. We have Charles here, who was born in Scotland in 1799. Pretty crazy. You can see that the tombstone's pretty weathered. It looks like it cracked in the center. I believe his wife is right here, Margaret, who was also born in 1799. I hope you guys can see it. The glare from the sun is pretty bad today. She was born in 1799 in the Netherlands, actually. They have two children buried here. Charles, which I could not locate. I don't know if this is just indicating that this is the Merrell family buried here. Could not find him. He died at the age of 31. DeWitt is their other son who's buried here. Died in 1907 at 66 years old. So I thought this headstone was a perfect example of some of the conflicting information I come across during my research. You can get a little lost in all the dates and everything, and birth dates, deaths, relationships, spouses, children. Finding a lot of inaccuracies at times. So I thought this was a good example on this headstone of Sarah Ingram Bloyd. It has a C in the center, and I wish I didn't see anything online about that middle name. But it says on the headstone she was born in 1812 and died in 1864. However, if you look at the headstone, it's like in pristine condition. It looks like it was washed and waxed yesterday. Online records say that she was 22 years old when she died. The current tombstone might be inaccurate because I did find an online footnote. I forget what website it was. Ancestry or findagrave.com. They said the original headstone was possibly broken and replaced, and I did notice on the back end, you can see it looks like there's a headstone that was originally there, and then someone rebuilt it or just replaced it in general, leaned it up against it. If you went by the tombstone, she would have been 52 years old when she died. However, she married Private William Bloyd in 1856. He would have been 23 at this time. William actually served in the Oregon 1st Infantry. She would have been 14 years old when she married William, again, who was 23 at the time. That seems more likely than 44 years old, as the tombstone date is indicating. Here we have Mignon Washington Cox. He was born in Indiana in 1824 and married to Catherine Lita McConaughey Cox Richardson. It's a tough one. Hopefully I said all those right. In 1858. Together they would move from Iowa to Hillsboro, Oregon. I believe I think they left Nebraska from Fort Kearny, I believe, in 1866, so my notes are correct. Mignon was actually the train captain and led 22 wagons across the Oregon Trail to Oregon. Sadly, Mignon died 2 years after arriving in Oregon. Catherine would go on to remarry Nathaniel C. Richardson in 1873. And buried right next to Mignon is Catherine Richardson, right here. You can see the tomb split down the center. Seems to be a common issue here at this graveyard. And here is Nathaniel C. Richardson, just a few feet from Catherine's grave that we talked about a little bit ago. He was born in 1808 in Illinois, actually. And during that time, he was married to Anna Bushnell, who is right here, pretty close. They traveled together to Oregon in 1847. They had 7 children together. Unfortunately, Anna would succumb to tuberculosis in 1858. As said, he would remarry Catherine Richardson. They had a son, Nathaniel, together, who is buried right here, pretty close again. He would die at 9 years old. So that's it for some of the mini stories from this graveyard. One of the critiques I got from my wife, actually, based on my last video, was I didn't really get a tour of the cemetery, so you might want to do a walkthrough. So I will take her advice and just do like a little mini tour, starting at the sign back there a few seconds ago. I'm sorry for not incorporating any creepy organ music, anything like that. Figured we just walk around and check out the headstones. enjoy the scenery. You can see we're pretty much out in farm country. Hopefully the stability's alright. I'm pretty new to cameras. I am using a GoPro 9 Hero, I believe it's called. Pretty happy with it so far. It's pretty crystal clear. Apologies on the shadow. Can't do much about that. Pretty big headstone there. Whoa. Pretty fantastic structure back here, way in the southwest corner. Appears to be Thomas Withicombe, born at Tavistock near Plymouth, England. Came to Oregon in 1871, died in 1896, 72 years old. The one thing I do not like about this GoPro is that the screen kind of times out randomly, but it's still recording, so I can't see when I'm recording. So I have to kind of restart it. I'm sure there's a setting in there somewhere. It's probably my fault. This is an old one. Carpenter. So this appears to be the Carpenter family right here. You see some of these are pretty weathered. This one's actually in pretty good shape compared to a lot of them. Some of them I saw have like absolutely zero writing on them. You might be able to see a letter or a number. That's about it. There is one lonely headstone over here. Oh, kind of on the outskirts. Mary, oh, can't really make out the last name. Maybe on the video you can. Born in 1860, died in 1933, I think that says. Incredible, the camera is more clear than my eyes. I'm looking at it and I'm depending on the camera to read the date. There's a really cool stone right here. Nice little design there. We have one that's very wore down. I can't make out a word on it. It's got lichens growing on it. Way up in the northwest corner of the cemetery by itself. A pretty large one. Pyramid style, I guess you could say. John Simpson. Ooh, Ashtabula, Ohio. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. Simpson. Oh, we have Dolpha again. Talked about him earlier. Most northwest one I could find. There's a pile over there, and there is. I'm seeing once in a while, I'll show you in a little bit, I am seeing some tombstones sort of in those bushes that are broken, sort of abandoned. It's a little sad. but I guess that's what time will do. It's a nice one. George Robinson, born in Delaware, 1813, I believe. This is a very nice headstone. Again, you can see it's sort of wore down on this side. Still has some nice designs on there, though. See what we got here. Landis. I do remember seeing that name quite a bit during my research. I wish I would have looked into that one a little more. Miller. It's a hell of a headstone. That ain't going anywhere. Nice little setup over here. Make our way over there. The gates are locked. There's two gates and there's like a little road right here, but I couldn't find any information about when they're open, XYZ. I don't think these cemeteries are really ever have any hours, if you will, or they're just kind of there to visit these days. So this family, Reese, apologies if I'm saying that wrong. There's a nice little gated community here. Very nice. Let's see what we got here. Emily, born in 1888, died in 1898. Ooh. A lot of young deaths when you go to these pioneer cemeteries. Really sad stories you find. Seems they have like a lot of children, but usually, like my last cemetery I went to, Union Cemetery in Cedar Mills, the magic number seemed to be only 2 out of the 6 kids made it past 20. So that was a little sad to read. This one's last name is Piper. Caroline Piper, born in Germany. Actually, my dad will like that. Born in 1827, died in 1904. Who do we have over here then? Another Piper. Doesn't say where they were born. Writing's a little weathered. And there is a, I think they call this a lawn style tombstone right here. John Piper. Actually, he just died in 2012, pretty recently. Okay, just walking out on the outside of that little gated community there. It was really neat. Tombstone right here, but there is a little bit of writing I could decipher. Halverston? Yeah. Another Halverston. Ew. Having a little bit of a heat wave here in Oregon. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I was expecting it to be a bit more frosty, but it's starting to burn off a little bit. There's some older ones. Jones died in 1902. And Mary Jones, assuming that might be the wife of the previous grave. So, oh, that's neat. This one's got a hammer and anvil on it. Maybe he was a blacksmith. There are some veterans here. As I said, there was a Civil War veteran that we talked about. Right here we have John William Smith, U.S. Marine Corps in World War I. Wow, 1947 he died. You never know what you're going to find in these pioneer cemeteries. Finding a Civil War veteran was the last thing I expected in Oregon. See, we got here Rothwell. Another Rothwell. Must be their family's area. Let's go head over to that site where I was telling you. Looks like there's some tombstones that are broken in the brush. Way over here. I do have to be a little careful because when I first came here, there was 2 pissed off American bald eagles up there. They were not happy that I was out here. I don't speak bird, but I think there was some cuss words perhaps in there based on what they were saying to each other. Kind of quieted down now. I think they realized I'm not here for them. Hopefully we won't get attacked as we walk closer. I probably have a nest up there. But as you can see over here, there are 2 headstones right there. There's one right there that's busted. Another one right there that's busted. Yeah, it's all I could see for now. There are piles of dirt. Might be the Chode family we were looking for earlier. Let's see what we got over here. Way off in the corner. Looks like the Folks, if I'm saying that right. Couple names just intermixed maybe. Here's one right here of John W. Folks. Just has one date on it. I'm wondering if that was the birth date or the year of the death, 1888. So I just met the nicest man in the world just now. He is actually the groundskeeper for the Lewis Pioneer Cemetery. One guy. Nice guy. Had a lot of interesting stories. I wish I could have recorded him on camera, but I didn't want to be rude or anything. I don't know if he'd be a fan of that, but just had a lot of stories about the graveyard, the people. Knew quite a bit of information. I did ask him on that one family, the Chode, C-H-O-D-E, and he just didn't know. He's like, I never heard of that. So they're somewhere here, but unknown at the moment. But yeah, shout out to Ken, the groundskeeper, for spending time and talking to me. Actually talked to him for a good hour. Real nice gentleman. So I think that's the end of our little tour here. There is one little tombstone here in the corner by itself, hanging out under a nice tree on a nice day. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any recommendations for other pioneer cemeteries in the area, leave a comment and have a great day. Thank you.